Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Okay guys, I'm on the test server. The new patch is live on the test server. I'm able to check out some of the different quality of life things, some of the new champions that are coming as part of the fusion and this patch, and honestly, and a bunch more. I'm definitely going to do a separate video on this new fusion because there's going to be some pretty crazy stuff with this champion's kit that I just want to completely go over in a different video. But outside of that, I guess let's dive in. Do be aware for anyone who's following the GODFORGE and Fateless stuff that I'm working on. The alpha dates were released yesterday in the video I put out there. And anyone who signed up for a kind of like beta or alpha, you would have got an email through yesterday. And yeah, you can basically get involved, make sure that you follow through on some of the questions we're asking so we put you in the right wave. All right then. Let's take a look at, I guess we'll start with champions then. So new champions in the mix. They've given me Androck. He's not a new champion, but he was buffed. So I'll be able to check him out. So the new fusion is in Titus Blackplume. The reason why I'm doing a separate video on this guy. So firstly, as I said in my original kind of like, check out of his kit, his skill kit, he felt like he was quite interesting and also felt like he would be one that probably would add value to people in the long term, once we've probably understood his kit and how it was going to work. He's got this ability here, attacks an enemy. This attack's always a crit if he's under a shield, and also gains a damage boost equal to the value of his shield. So Corpulent Cadaver used to do this, and he was nerfed. And any comp revolving around doing this was also nerfed. But we have had confirmation that this guy is not going to be nerfed if he can do the same type of shenanigans we used to see from those comps. Obviously, anything can change in the future, right? But this is what I want to test out in a separate video. So make sure to check that out when I drop that as well. What else is going on here? Removes all debuffs from all allies if the target is killed. This is more like a PvP skill. And if the target survives, places provoke on all enemies for a turn. This cannot be resisted if under a shield. So this could be a great Hydra provoke mechanic with a 3-turn cooldown on this skill. It's then got ally protection and increase attack and speed on an ally for 2 turns. So he's going to put this on basically your damage dealer if you set it up right. And gives the ally a 40% turn meter fill. Now, if you're going to try and do this type of comp where you just grow shields, I think you're going to have to turn this off because you don't want someone outrunning all of their buffs and stuff. So this could end up being a bit of a tricky one to sort out. But I guess we'll play around with that. Each time an enemy hits an ally, anyone on your team, that ally's next attack will deal more damage, up to 100% more damage. This guy's going to be an absolute monster in Clan Boss if you do one of these shield comps. So yeah, as I say, I'm going to test it out and I'll show you guys as soon as I can get that done. Other champions that are in the mix then for this patch, we've got, I guess I'll come back to the legendaries because we do have, this is a fusion where you have to collect epics. So the epic here is going to be Gom Yellow Hand. I mean, this guy's got particularly black hands, so I'm not sure where the name came from. Are the inside of his hands yellow? No. I don't know where the name came from. But obviously some sort of childhood nickname that stuck, even though it had no meaning. One of those. Oh, see, someone's tagged him on the back with the yellow hand. Got it. So what we got here, support, an epic support. Decent HP actually for an epic. 104 speed's pretty solid. We've got a double hitter putting out leech and heal reduction. Actually, this is interesting. So first hit, 30% chance of leech. For 2 turns, second hit, 30% chance of heal reduction. Leech, I'm just thinking Amius actually. Heal reduction's really important on an A1 for Amius. Books up to 50, so it's okay, but not brilliant. But do you want Leech going out there? Does Leech get flipped into something else? Can't think. Does Leech get flipped into something else? I'm not sure when he does his buff flipping. Can't remember. I mean, if it does get flipped, it's going to be into some sort of heal, which would be diabolical. But I don't know if it does. But anyway, A1 with heal reduction and leech. Also double hitter, which could be interesting for Fire Knight. We've got speed for your team and continuous heals on the A2 on a on a 3-turn if it's booked. And then we've got an AoE hit, books to a 3-turn, drops some turn meter of enemies, and then books up to a 75% chance to stun all enemies. For an epic, that's pretty high value. Like a 75% stun on a 3-turn, that's pretty high value. So pretty solid epic, I'd say. Whenever an ally is attacked, fills this champion's turn meter by 5%. So if everyone else is taking a hit, you're going to get like a 20% turn meter fill as well. Pretty cool epic, I'd say. Right, okay, who else we got in the mix here? Osgren. So this is not part of the fusion. Check him in a sec. I think that is it. And this is the free login champion as well, who is going to be in the mix real soon. Goldwing. So we've seen the kit already. I've already gone through this kit. It feels fairly underwhelming. I guess I will do some playtesting again and see if we get much going on. Damage reduction from heal reduction is okay, but yeah, it just felt like her kit, don't know if it really felt too sexy, and I think I said she would have to hit pretty damn hard to be valuable, but more like a mid-game type of support and, well, damage dealer, mid-game damage dealer to come in and help you out. But yeah, not the best. Okay, let's check out the other 2 legendaries then that are part of this patch. We've got Amuk, who is the frog. Or is it a toad? How do we know? Amuk, the first satrap. Looks like a pirate toad. Pirate frog, whatever. Very cool skin, though. I love the texture in here. Good work. Actually looks very cool. He's got a key on his chest to unlock his, I don't know, his boobs. I don't know what that is. Another key for his pants. Damn, this guy needs keys if he's going to get undressed. That's what I'm want. But then he's got at least a key for a weapon. I mean, it's a cool theme, right? It's a cool theme. We get it. Some sort of snake stuff going over his little pot, which is oozing with slime. Very cool skin, actually. I love this one. They didn't go with candles on his crown. They went with oozing slime. Pretty sweet. I like that one. Okay. What we got going on here? Support, 100 speed, good stats. Attacks an enemy, 100% chance of stealing a random buff, and 70% if booked chance of placing leech. Got an attacks an enemy on the second skill, places decreased resistance and pain link, and decreased speed. These debuffs are protected against bosses. That's interesting, actually. So cannot be cleaned off against bosses. Heals all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP for each debuff placed. So you can get yourself a nice 15% HP heal. It is attack based, but it does have high HP. And these go up to 100%. This is a really good skill here for like single target bosses. I'm just thinking for Chimera. I know you get something around decreased resistance. I'm trying to think what the challenges are, but I think this is going to help for that. We've then got block debuffs for your team on a 4-turn, which is nice. Heals all allies again based on this champion's max HP. Heals by more for an additional 3% for each debuff on them. And then removes any debuffs from allies negatively affecting stats. And replaces them with the mirrored buff. So removes decreased attack, puts increased attack. Removes block buffs, heal reduction, weaken, and then puts the strong buffs in their place, or the protecting buffs. That is a crazy good skill for Chimera. And a lot of bosses, honestly. There's a lot of bosses in Doom Tower where that would be nuts. That is a crazy good skill. We then got Resilient Cast. Increases his champion's max HP by 10% whenever they heal themselves using a skill, i.e. A2 or A3. So you get up to 50% more HP, which means that the heals will be bigger. So you can probably get him up to 100k pretty easily nowadays. And then basically pushes himself up to 150k. So when you're doing a 15% heal, plus a little bit more, you're probably getting like 30k heals for your whole team. That's huge, honestly. That is a huge heal going off there. Damn, this guy's really interesting. Pretty cool kit. And then we had, what was the other one? The dwarf. Osgren here. He's got the skulls just hovering over his lanterns on his back. He's got a big crystal. Osgren the Defiler. With his jagged sword. Braided beard. Looks pretty sweet. Looks like he packs a punch. But he is a support. Damn, I thought he was going to be a damage dealer. He packs a support. He's a support. So what's going on? Good speed, 109. Pretty good stats. Attacks an enemy then, 50%, boosts up to 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill on a target. On an A1, that's pretty good. And a turn meter fill for your whole team by 10% on an A1. That's nuts, actually, for an A1. Okay, A2. Books up to 100% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies. Also decreases the turn meter of all enemies whose turn meter is lower or equal to 50%. 20% turn meter drop. And if the enemy's turn meter is more than 50% to full, decreases it by 50%. Crazy. Also, books up to 100% chance of placing a stun on all enemies where you did a big turn meter drop. Okay, pretty nuts. We've then got the A3 is an ally attack. Teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use default skills. And he's using his, don't forget. So turn meter fill off the back of this as well. Before attacking, gives increase attack and shatter, which is like the ignore defense for the enemy, on all allies. This guy is cracked. Like, wow, this is a crazy skill. Then decreases the cooldown of all allies' active skills except this champion's by a turn if you kill someone. Wow. I mean, are you with me? The power creep in this game is insane. Like, every champion we're reading right now is just like, damn, they're top tier. Okay. Except the freebie. Passive here. Allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun. Straight up more damage, which is honestly like the amount of areas of the content for late game where this is important. You know, Curse City, you're trying to stun everyone all the time. The new faction war stuff, you're trying to stun people because, you know, it's so difficult to crowd control enemies. Stun's your way to do it. Yeah, and then you've got an active effect, which is on a 4-turn. Whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates Magics of Irith, which was the A2, which basically pushes back enemies' turn meter or stuns them, and stuns them. Will not put that skill on cooldown. Oh, you know what? There's probably something here. If you could revive an ally pretty consistently, there's something to just bring like a level 1 dwarf into hard faction wars with this guy and just use him as bait to keep proccing this. Interesting. Okay. And then we round out with an increased ally speed in arena by 28%. So they're teeing him up as an arena champ, which I kind of get. But I also think he's just going to be crazy good for like any content, really. Like ally attacks. There's a bunch of content where ally attacks is really effective, especially if you are bringing everybody into the mix, and especially if you're giving them like strong buffs. So some content where you're just trying to one-shot the enemy with ally attacks. And this guy is definitely going to be in the mix of some of the best versions of that in the game. So, damn, another really, really strong champ. So, champion's done. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff they've added then. This one I was kind of interested in. The Faction Guardians. So, they've basically got this ability to commission. So, if you commission people, are you sure you want to commission these Faction Guardians? Warning. Commissioning these Faction Guardians will mean you cannot use them for anything else. So if I hit this, they're now locked away. And I'm guessing then if I go to my roster... Oh, what was that guy's name? He was a Bannerlord, right? Bannerlord. So I've got 2 there. I did have 4, if you remember. Yeah, I've only got 2 now. So they basically... It's as if they've been removed from my account. So the reason for this is to basically help people, honestly, like me, or, you know, people that have played the game for ages and have just got an abundance of champions And these champions in the main are not being used. Like these two, I never ever will use these champions. They're literally just in there to fill my faction guardian slots up. So it makes sense for me to make the room back on... Yeah, there you go. It makes sense for me to make the room back in my account and just be like, sure, I'll put them into commission. And therefore, I'm saying I will never use that champion again. I don't want them anymore. But I do want the benefits from the faction guardian. The risk here is if... Don't forget, I'm on the test server, so no risk to me right now. But if I went, oh yeah, you know, I don't really use the bold here. Like, he's pretty trash. I'm just going to throw him into commission. That would be a terrible thing to do. I would say never do this with a legendary. In fact, I'm surprised they've even let us do it with legendaries. It's such a terrible thing to do, in my opinion, because, I mean, damn. You're locking away legendaries. Now, let's say right now, I think he's trash. So therefore, I'm not like trying to +4 him or anything. Or I've got Lugan here. I mean, I wouldn't do it with a +2 or whatever. But, you know, let's say that he's kind of trash now. But then suddenly they bring out a new Void legendary that gets empowered by him. I cannot empower with him. Okay? It just wouldn't work. In fact, can we even test it? So I think... I don't know if I can. But yeah, basically it would just mean that you won't be able to use that as an empowerment. Also, if they get a massive buff, you might suddenly want to bring them out of the vault. They no longer are in your vault, okay? So just be extremely careful with that system. I did it for rares because at the moment you can see I don't really fill in my rares. Mainly because I don't keep the rares for long enough on my account. But with the commission thing, maybe I would. I would just be like, yeah, you know what? I might as well put them in, commission them, and then at least it's full for... You know, for anything else I'm trying to do. But I'd say it's quite dangerous, right? I think it's a bit dangerous, especially with the legendaries. So just watch out for that. There's a whole bunch of extra stuff in Siege. They kind of went through it on the video yesterday. I can't show you anything more because in the test server, Siege just doesn't really work. But ultimately, there's a load of traps that we can now do. There are a bunch of upgrades you can now do to your Siege towers up to like level 6. I think you can just about see, maybe I'll see if I'm still recording here, which I should be. I'll come back in and see if I can do any Siege stuff in 4 minutes. We'll have a look. There's a whole bunch of new building levels. Yeah, we'll come back to Siege in a second. There's a lot of stuff in there. Chimera. So there's a big Chimera rebalance. And the main thing here is the second enemy, which is the hard one, the ram form, should be more, I guess, easier to deal with, right? So the ram form should be easier to deal with. Shouldn't just one-shot you when you hit it, that type of stuff. And then the lion form, which is the easy form right now, is harder. So what I'm going to do, this is my current team for Chimera. And I run it generally full auto. And it does good damage, right? So we're going to go into Ultra Nightmare. And actually, let me just change something. Because I think... Let me just check. I'm pretty sure I've got it set up so that against the ram form, I wonder if this carries over. Oh no, I've just got it set up to hit. Okay, I should have it set up against the ram form to not do my nukes, but looks like I've just got it rolling along. So that's something I needed to change anyway. But let's see what it looks like in these two different forms. So I'm going to fast forward a sec, and then I'll bring you back in when we get the ram turn up. Okay, we're getting close to it. I've literally let it run full auto. So what I would normally do if I was manual in here is like, you know, stopping doing my main abilities, trying to get rid of all of my buffs and that type of stuff so that I was ready to just A1 away against the ram. So I'm just going to let it run full auto and just see what it actually does. Instead of trying to... you know, take control here and be more protective over my scores and stuff. So ram form comes in. Still is going to one-shot me. Obviously, my Galathir doesn't enjoy being one-shot, so that's easy enough. So that wasn't really any different, but it's Toshiro that I care about. Yeah, so you see here, like, Toshiro is in danger normally of just completely one-shotting himself with his damage levels. And we're getting way less damage, like a ton less damage, honestly. So it means that I can actually use damaging skills against the boss and try and bulk my damage up, which is good, right? That's a good change. You don't want to have a boss mode where literally your tactic is try and do as little as I can and just ride it out for 5 turns. Like it's just boring actually. It's not that it's not strategically viable to have that. It's just dull for a player. So, and obviously it means you generally need to be bringing in like 2 revivers or something just to be able to deal with it. So it might mean that, you know, less requirement of revive is going to be a thing. Like pretty possible. This feels, I mean, at this point, this feels comfortable to get through this stage, whereas it's never felt comfortable to try and beat this guy up. So that's interesting. That's cool. Let's move on to the Lion. Okay, again, I've not touched anything other than gone full auto here, so it'd be interesting to see how the team deals with the Lion. The Lion, at this moment in time, I care nothing about. Like, on any of my accounts that I've ever run, even the free-to-play, the Lion was never a problem at all for my teams. Okay, so the Lion switches in here. Considerably higher damage, actually, for that hit. I'm more curious about the AoE where he ignores defense now, which I think is this one, is it? No. Was that it? I thought he had an AoE which ignores defense now. Or maybe it's the secondary hit here. So again, doing high damage, but it's not insane damage. I'm not super worried about this guy. I do have a decreased attack on him, I guess. So, it does come back to that. You know, if you can put debuffs on, which make a lot of sense, then that's going to help us. And I am extending those debuffs. So, you know, he's not coming at me with like full force, I guess. So, but I guess the main point here is I don't feel like suddenly they've massively overtuned this one up, which is good. So the one which was really nasty feels like it's come down a level, and the one which was super easy, it's gone up a level, but I don't think it's like crazy overtuned. Now, they have also made some changes here to some of the trials. So I don't know if it's in. We don't have a list of what's changed, honestly. So damage to Chimera on all of its forms with burns and smites and stuff. Deplete the Chimera's jewel bar within 5 turns. That's the same. I think this might have been 7 before. Anyway, yeah, so they made a couple of tweaks. They tried to make the trials a bit more doable. I don't memorize the trials, so I don't really know what we're comparing before and after with. Perhaps I'll do a separate piece on that once I get the lowdown on where we're going. But yeah, feels like some pretty decent changes, I'd say. Like, not, or certainly not bad changes from what we've had before, which feels good. Let's go into a couple of other little quality of life things then. So in the tavern, when we are trying to level someone up, so let's just take someone up to max. If I'm trying to upgrade their rank, I should now be able to see champions that are in the vault, which I think you couldn't do before. So they tried to just do a little bit of quality of life fix in here to improve that experience. What else have we got on the list? They said like some champions have got better AI. 19 champions will receive AI behavior tweaks to perform better in PvE, PvP. Don't know the kind of breakdown of who they are or what they are. We do have now some additional tiers added into 3v3 arena. Again, not showing actually. So it says here, what's it saying on this one? Will increase the size of silver and gold tiers in tag team arena. Obviously, it's not in right now. So I thought they might just be bolting on the further end more groups. So instead of it ending at gold, maybe a bunch of plat groups. But it looks like they're just going to, instead of finishing at silver 4, they're just going to add silver 5, silver 6, and then similar with gold. So just trying to help people basically complete quests. So we'll see how that goes. You know, it's a pretty simple fix to this, really, and that's how many players they limit in different fields. But yeah, I mean, that's going to achieve the same sort of thing, I hope, or I guess. So that's good. We've got the ability to refresh advanced quests. So in advanced quests here, don't think I can do it on any quest. So if I wanted to refresh, say this one, I can't do it. I think it's just this one. It's not what I was expecting it to be. I thought I would just be able to choose one through the list and refresh it rather than just one that was refreshable. You'll get an option to refresh certain advanced quests if you don't find them suitable. The new feature is limited to one refresh a day, but several eligible quests may be available simultaneously. You'll get to choose one to refresh. Okay. I thought, so let's say for me, this was especially relevant when I was doing like free-to-play stuff and I was a newer player. Like often I'd come up against this one, defeat one faction war boss, and I couldn't do it that day. That would be the one that I'd love to refresh and get a different chance to do something else. But it looks like we can't choose. It's just going to be one, and then it's probably going to be one of the ones that's relevant to more recent content, I guess. A couple of changes on clan quests as well. In stuff like clan boss now, they're going to have this is quite a nice little quality of life change. So if you were watching your clan boss fight and you've done a bunch of damage, so you can see like how much damage you've done and then how much you need to get to the certain quest level. I'm interested actually, so I'm just going to finish this key. I've done 1.6, 1.7 odd mil. Let's end the battle. Just curious to see on key 2 if it already knows that I've done this much damage, which would be important information for your chests. So yes, it does. Good. So it understands what your previous key was. Therefore, you're looking at your total for the difficulty, and then this is this current damage for the boss. That's a nice quality of life change. I think that's good work. We've got another one in the tavern, which I missed actually. So they're saying that chickens and stuff like that now stack. Okay. Nice. Chickens, feasts, brews, all that type of stuff is going to stack in the tavern. Yeah, I think that is about it. There's quite a lot in that patch, honestly. Quite a lot of changes. New champions, which are quite interesting. And then, as I say, I'm going to do a separate video on the fusion. So look out for Titus trying to blow stuff up with big shields. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you soon.